As we glide through Christmas and we endure another season of ultra-consumerism, I felt the need to address the rampant wastefulness that has plagued the United States for decades now. The US is often referred to as a consumerist country. I've been hearing this sentiment from my parents and society since I was a kid. It is said that the American people spend money on frivolous things year after year. This problem is, of course, blamed on capitalism. This is flat out incorrect. Since the advent of feminism in the early 20th century, the United States, and the Western Democracies for that matter, have slowly and progressively become more addicted to debt. It is no mystery that women desire safety and security. Once they obtained the vote in the early 20th century, and single motherhood in the 70s exploded, so did the debt in Western democracies. They desired that safety and security, and they got it from the government. The United States abandoned the gold standard in the 70s, allowing the federal government to print and borrow money at prolific rates. Lyndon Johnson, in that same decade, passed the Great Society, which created endless waves of wasteful entitlement programs that endure today, including unearned payments to single mothers. Johnson's actions and the actions by the federal government heretofore have decreased the value of the dollar by 97%. Fast forward to today, and the United States has an endless list of welfare programs, a $22 trillion national debt, along with unfunded liabilities that add up to over $200 trillion. Why is this history lesson relevant to a MGTOW video? It is because wastefulness and profligacy are symptoms of unbridled femininity. Capitalism is not at fault for the consumerist, debt-reliant culture that the United States currently possesses. Free markets place limits on resource consumption because the suffering of consequences on the part of a reckless consumer is allowed to occur. Simply put, if you spend more than you consume, you face financial ruin. This is no longer the case. Banks, their CEOs, and stockholders are allowed to avoid financial consequence for faulty investments thanks to government laws. The Fed has artificially lowered the interest rates, which has allowed rampant and unchecked borrowing by corporations and consumers alike with little blowback. This is the direct cause of the proliferation of femininity in society and government deference to women's preferences. Women these days have divorced themselves from men and from reality. They are brainwashed by society, their parents, and government schools from birth to attend university, establish a career, forego having children, and to distrust men altogether. They are living alone, shopping alone, eating alone, more than any other time in American history. They are, quote-unquote, independent, or so they say. However, women are biologically inclined to be resource consumers. Women are biologically supposed to have children and use resources provided by men to raise those children. It is inherent to them to seek the most resource-laden man that can obtain those resources with which they will use. But women aren't able to do this themselves. Women claim they don't need a man, they instead complain to the government for assistance. Hence, you get an entire generation of women free to spend their money on whatever they want with little consequence, rendered thanks to the federal government and society. It's a fact that single women these days have a difficult time managing their finances, and the majority of them have no savings. It is the lack of masculinity in their lives that cause this. The next time you are out, pay mind to the stores and the products these stores offer. It is mostly junk. Frivolous plastic or ceramic items with which to decorate a house. Mountains of makeup products used to trick men into thinking women are more attractive than they are. Trinkets and accoutrements in which their novelty run out quickly and they go into the trash or storage. This is produced by unbridled femininity. Also think of the endless welfare programs available to women and their fatherless children. Moreover, think of the huge judicial system that has been constructed just to adjudicate divorces and custody of children just because women are dissatisfied in a marriage in which they voluntarily entered. This is all insane. All these things require massive resources and consumption of those resources, and it exists because women are not kept in check by men. Some detractors of this argument will say, hey, party of one, look at the nerd culture which dominates the millennial generation. It is mostly men, and they tend to waste mountains of resources and money on dolls, figurines, cards, video games, etc. Isn't that wasteful? Yes, I would say to these detractors, it is wasteful. That is true. However, my argument says that it is unbridled femininity that is the cause of overconsumption. And look at who dominates the nerd culture. Young, fatherless, beta male, feminine men. They grew up without male guidance. Their single mothers demonstrated to them that wastefulness is okay. It is not masculinity, it is not men or even women, but uncontrolled femininity that breeds debt, profligacy, and irresponsibility with finances. I plan on expanding this argument in a subsequent video, which deals with the environmentalist movement being a strictly feminine movement born from a debt culture that feminism created. So I hope you look out for that. So please, I implore you to like and subscribe this video, and check out some of my previous videos. My channel is dead in the water because of YouTube's new policies, and I would hate to have to stop making this content. Thanks for watching, and have a good New Year's.